This kind of stuff makes me want to jump out of a moving car. And this is the kind of, in the words of the teacher who resigned, systemic rot, rank anti-Semitism that in New York they're sending to our teachers and our kids and to the world. It was in the November 2024 newsletter. And that document called on all the teachers and all the students in the New York public schools and everybody else reading the newsletter, called on them to participate in, quote, Rage Week and, quote, resist genocide by mobilizing on Saturday, October 5th for a day of action ahead of the anniversary of Hamas on October 7th, 2023. That was the date of the terrorist attack on Israel, which apparently the administration of the public schools wants to celebrate.
Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I've got to tell you, today's video is one that left me absolutely stunned, and not in a good way. We've all heard about the radical left pushing their agenda through our schools, but what's happening in New York City right now is taking it to a whole new level. I'm talking about something that's not just radical, it's downright dangerous, and it has to be called out. So, I'm reacting today to a shocking video by Senator John Kennedy, where he slams the New York City public school system for promoting an anti-Semitic toolkit. And trust me, you're going to want to hear this. Alright, let's get into it.
Mr. President, I saw something last week that I didn't believe. I read the article and then I searched the internet for other articles saying the same thing to confirm that it was true, and it was true. I'm still in disbelief. The largest public school system in America is in New York City. I love New York City. I think it's the greatest city in the world. And the New York public schools publish a monthly newsletter. It's called, let's see, what's it called? Office of Student Pathways Newsletter. Every month, the public school system in New York City sends this newsletter. They blast it out to teachers. They blast it out to parents, not just in New York City, but all across the country. And in the latest newsletter that they blasted out, they had one of those bullet points that they made in the newsletter that's kind of, when you look at it on the internet, it's kind of pale blue. You can click on it, and it sends you to another site. The bullet point on the newsletter that the public schools in New York sent out was called, quote, Guidelines for Teaching About Genocide. Guidelines for Teaching About Genocide. And if you clicked on this phrase in the newsletter, it sent you to another site. And you know what the site was? Stop Gaza Genocide Toolkit. Stop Gaza Genocide Toolkit. The administration of the New York public schools, largest in the country, is sending this out to its teachers and its students and to the world. If you take a look and you say, what's in this toolkit, this Stop Gaza Genocide Toolkit? It contains the biggest bunch of anti-Semitic rot you can imagine. The toolkit, among other things, it it breaks down how to mobilize pro-Palestinian campaigns on social media. It tells our students and our teachers how to boycott and encourage divestment from pro-Israel organizations. It encourages readers to print out Palestine yard signs and calls our kids and our parents to action. Now, the head of the public schools in New York was embarrassed. Once people started going, what's going on? Why are you publishing this anti-systemic rot accusing Israel of genocide? After it was Israel that was attacked, after it was Hamas that started the war. And the chancellor, Ms. Melissa Aviles Ramos, said it was just a troubling oversight. That's what she said, troubling oversight. But then the article goes on to say that it's been discovered that a similar version of the toolkit, this oversight, was published in the newsletter in the prior month. It was in the November 2024 newsletter. And that document called on all the teachers and all the students in the New York public schools and everybody else reading the newsletter, called on them to participate in, quote, Rage Week, and, quote, resist genocide by mobilizing on Saturday, October 5th, for a day of action ahead of the anniversary of Hamas on October 7th, 2023. That was the date of the terrorist attack on Israel, which apparently the administration of the public schools wants to celebrate. Here's what one of the teachers in the public school system said when she discovered this. It is systemic rot. It's systemic rot, said Karen Felman, an educator of over 26 years who resigned. She resigned. And it should not go unnoticed that in addition to this oversight, we know it wasn't an oversight. I mean, pigs may fly someday, but I doubt it. This wasn't an oversight. Now we find out recently that New York State education officials have rejected President Trump's administration's demand to do away with certain diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts that call for quotas, racial quotas, which are illegal in the United States of America under recent Supreme Court precedent. These state officials wrote President Trump, and this is what they said. There are no state or federal laws prohibiting the principles of DEI. I don't understand that. Racial quotas are illegal. You can't use race in America, according to well-settled law, to hurt a person or to help a person. But these officials at the state level, not the local level, they said no state or federal laws prohibit the principles of DEI. And they said that they are aware of no jurisdiction that the federal government has to withdraw funding. Well, you know what? I hope we find out. I hope we find out. This kind of stuff makes me want to jump out of a moving car. And this is the kind of, in the words of the teacher who resigned, systemic rot, rank anti-Semitism that in New York they're sending to our teachers and our kids and to the world.
Senator Kennedy starts off by telling us that New York City's public schools, yeah, the largest public school system in the country, has been promoting a tool that pushes anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian propaganda under the guise of teaching about genocide. And what does the toolkit actually contain? Well, it's a treasure trove of nonsense, folks. It encourages kids and teachers to mobilize for pro-Palestinian campaigns, promote divestment from pro-Israel organizations, and print out signs for Palestine. What kind of message are we sending to our children? Look, I get it. Schools have a responsibility to teach history, but there's a line, right? This isn't about teaching the facts about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This is about pushing an agenda. It's clear as day that this toolkit is just a cover for spreading anti-Semitic rhetoric and stoking hatred against one of America's strongest allies in the Middle East. And the worst part? This isn't some isolated incident. Senator Kennedy made it very clear that this wasn't just a one-time mistake. Oh no, this troubling oversight, as they called it, was actually part of a months-long campaign. The previous month, the New York public school system sent out another newsletter calling for Rage Week, which, I mean, come on folks, really? This is what we're teaching our kids now? Rage Week, before the anniversary of a terrorist attack on Israel? What's next? Are we going to start teaching kids that terrorist organizations like Hamas are somehow heroes? This is exactly the kind of revisionist history that the left is pushing, an agenda that distorts the truth and undermines the values that America stands for. But don't just take my word for it. Listen to the teachers. Karen Felman, an educator with over 26 years of experience in the New York public schools, resigned over this. She called it systemic rot. And folks, she's right. This isn't just an isolated event. This is part of a larger trend in our education system that's being run by left-wing radicals. Think about it. Teachers are being forced to promote this divisive, hateful content. The toolkit tells them how to mobilize, how to encourage students to protest, how to push a political agenda, all while pretending it's about educating kids on genocide. This is dangerous territory. And if you think this is just happening in New York City, you better think again. This could easily spread to other school systems across the country. And let's talk about the response from the New York public schools. Melissa Ailes Ramos, the chancellor of New York's public school system, called it a troubling oversight. Oversight? Are you kidding me? This wasn't a mistake, it wasn't a slip-up. This was deliberate. If they really didn't mean to promote anti-Semitism, why did they do it twice? And let's not forget, it wasn't just one document that slipped through the cracks. This was an ongoing campaign that was put in front of teachers, parents, and kids in New York City. Now, some of you might be wondering, why is this such a big deal? It's just a newsletter. But let me tell you, this is how these radical left-wing ideologies spread. It starts with a seemingly innocuous message. It starts with one toolkit, one newsletter. And before you know it, your kids are being taught to hate Israel, to protest, to ignore facts, and to follow an agenda that has no place in a public school system. This is the Constitution, folks. This is what our country was built on. And this left-wing madness is exactly what our founders warned us about. The idea that we would let our schools become propaganda machines for hate is not only unconstitutional, it's un-American. This is not what we stand for as a nation. We stand for freedom. We stand for truth. And we stand for standing with our allies, not turning our backs on them. But it doesn't stop there. Senator Kennedy also brought up something else that is equally concerning. New York state education officials recently rejected the Trump administration's demand to end certain diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) programs that call for racial quotas. Now, we all know that racial quotas are illegal. They've been ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. But these state officials are doubling down and saying there's no law stopping them. Well, guess what? They're wrong. The fact that we're still debating racial quotas in 2025 is mind-blowing. This country fought a civil war, passed constitutional amendments, and fought decades of struggle for equality. And now we're back to racial discrimination? Are we really going to let the radical left turn us into a society where race determines your future? This is the kind of systemic rot we need to fight back against. This is what's happening in our schools, in our government, and in our institutions. It's a direct attack on everything we hold dear. It's not just about pushing an anti-Israel agenda. It's about undermining our entire system. And folks, if we don't fight back, we're going to lose this country. As patriots, it's our duty to call out this corruption, to stand up for what's right, to protect our children from the radical left's grip on our schools. We can't let this go unnoticed. If we stand by and do nothing, we are complicit in the destruction of our nation's values. We have to stand firm. We have to push back. So, I'm asking you, my fellow Americans, especially parents, educators, and people who care about the future of this country, speak up. Get involved. Hold your schools accountable. We have to make sure that our children are taught the truth, not indoctrinated with hate and division. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to stay updated on the fight to protect our schools and our country. We're in this together, and together we can make sure America stays strong, united, and free. Stay strong, stay patriotic, and God bless America.